Hi there, everybody. Boyd here with you, and welcome to Project Mad Max. If you guys checked out the introductory video there a little while back, I talked about how I'm going to be modifying both of these AutoArt 1/18 scale Mad Max cars. And I've been working on the Road Warrior version here first, doing all my weathering and everything on it. And I'm going to take you through what I've been doing here to get this looking the way it is. If you guys remember in the other video, it was all pristine and everything was bright and shiny and perfectly clean. And now we're getting more towards the look that I was hoping for of the desert car. And so I've been using a couple of different techniques here to get this looking like this. I've been using a little bit of artist chalk and a little bit of craft acrylic paints and some airbrushing and some dry brushing and different things. So I've got some of the work done here on this side, on the passenger side of the car. Don't forget the Aussies are right-hand drive side. So here in the interior, I've got it all dirtied up. Let me get my flashlight on that, and you guys can hopefully see the whole interior has been all dirtied up and, you know, all dusted down and everything. I removed the little doll head that was there on the dash. We're going to be working on that. I've got a couple of screen caps that I took of the way that should look. They had it upside down in the model, and we're going to fix that, and we're going to add some hair onto that, so that's coming up here. Here's what I did on the driver's side. Again with the, whoop, this is a weird flashlight. It does a strobe effect. I've got some screen caps of the interior of the car that were taken while it was sitting on the set, and there was a nice kind of a split in the upholstery on the driver's seat there that I replicated that you can see, and you know, the wear and tear and the dust and everything on the inner door panels and up around the dash and everything. It was just real dirty on the inside. I've got dog seat all weathered down. Got the fuel tanks here in the back all weathered down. But you can see on this side of the car, I haven't done much other than just what I did is I took a Scotch-Brite pad. It's one of these right here, if you guys aren't familiar with it. Let me get my... It's one of these. It's kind of a low grade. You know, it doesn't do a whole lot of really intensive scratching. Just puts a little scuff on it. And I scuffed the entire body with this before I did anything. And that took a lot of the bright glossy sheen off of the car that it had. And that also allows my artist chalk to have something to stick to. If you have real shiny paint, your artist chalk's not going to stick to that. So it'll just keep, you know, falling right off. Now up here at the front, I'm going to be doing the windshield wiper effect. Now, you guys have asked about this. I did this same thing back on the dual truck when I did all the weathering on it. So you basically just want to take some masks and cut them in the shape the actual windshield wipers would actually sort of move, and then lay them on there like that, get them to the approximate size that they should be and everything. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit this with a little bit of this, matte clear coat here. And that what will happen then is that the rest of the windshield, you know, this area right here where the masks are will remain sort of clear, and then the rest of this will get a little bit foggy looking. And then we'll let that dry a little bit, and we're going to take our this little atomizer here, and we're going to dust a little bit of this road grime on there, and that'll make the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this clear coat on there in just a second, and then we're going to come around here to this side of the car, and we're going to get it all worked in so it looks like this side. And there's a couple little other things that I did here that I want to show you. If you notice, there's some splattering effects here on the sides. Instead of just having, you know, fogged on dirt, you know, if he's driving through, you know, wet and all that, you'd expect to see a few little mud splatters and stuff, and that adds a little bit more realism to that. So I'll show you how we do that. It's really easy to do. Got, you know, I mixed in a little bit of brown. What I did with first here, let me point this out. I'm taking a little bit of white artist chalk, and I'm highlighting around some of these areas, if you can see it there, where the body lines are. And that what that simulates is it simulates a little bit of paint fade, you know, weathering from just the sun beating on it. And it's going to be highlighted more in some areas. I did a little bit of that on the roof, and we're going to be doing some of the same over on this side. Once I got that laid in, then I came back with the brown artist chalk and kind of went over the top of it. And then I came back with some actual paint, and with a, you know, kind of a thick brush, I just kind of started dabbing on little globs here and there on the bottom along the rocker panels, bottom of the doors and everything. I've done the same thing up here on the nose, and I was able to get this nose piece separated from the car, and I took and made a couple little tabs on the edges and I glued some 600 grit sandpaper onto those so it has some traction, and it just, with a little bit of pressure, it just pops right on the front end and it stays on there really nice. So we can have that displayed either on or off, because we got that look here, the way it looked in the middle and end of the movie where the front end was knocked off of the car and you just saw the inner headlights there. So the bumper up here in the front had like a solid piece. So I took my hobby knife and I scored along these edges here and I removed the inner parts there. So we just had this little bar going across the front like it's supposed to have. And that made that look a lot better. And you can see we're going to do a little bit more here at the tail. We're going to cake it on just a little bit heavier at the tail here. But the gas tanks and everything are all done. Now over here is the chassis. You can see here's the motor compartment, and I've dirtied down the whole thing in here, dusted up around the motor and stuff where it would normally collect. And then on the bottom I did a whole lot. You can see it's all caked down on the bottom of the engine and the front part of the chassis, and places that you would expect it to be. And here you can see what I tried to show you in the first video. There's Max's booby trap bomb and his machete that he's got sitting in there in case he needs it. I've got the rear tires pulled off because up in here you can see there's 2 screw holes on the top that you can't get to take the chassis off when the tires are in place. And I didn't want to take the chance of trying to pop these rims off. I think they're pressure fit on there, and I didn't want to break them, when I try to pull them off the axle. So I just took the tires off, and I was able to get my screwdriver in there, and we'll do that in reverse order when we put it back together. There's 6 screws that have to come out on the bottom. Now I was planning on taking the whole interior out of this thing, but once I got that far, I realized that there's a lot of they've got it kind of like heat welded together. They took the plastic tabs and they melted them over, and everything is stuck in there, and I just didn't want to start breaking all that apart. I was able to get in there with my brush and reach in there and dust it all down like I wanted to anyway, so that it didn't really, I didn't need to take the interior completely out. Now what I did also is I took I made a little tiny little hook out of some wire, and I took a little piece of styrene and I made a tiny little square platform and glued the wire onto it, so that I made this little bucket here, which will hang inside the car just behind Max's driver's seat. We're going to do a little bit of weathering on this. Looking at the screenshots, it was a gray color. I've still got to paint the handle silver here, but I started to do a little bit on the bottom with some flat black because it's supposed to look like he's been cooking with it or something. You could see that in the little shot there. So we're going to take some artist chalk and we're going to come up around the sides a little bit and kind of fog that in to make it look a little bit carbonized or whatever. And then that will hang in there and swing like it's supposed to. There's a shot where you see Max driving and you can see the bucket hanging in there. Now, I'm going to be going over to Michael's in the next day or two, and I'm going to be looking for some fabric and some mesh, like some rope type mesh, because I was trying to figure out what he had laying in the back. There's this whole area. If I open this door here, I'll show you. There's a whole bunch of, space on the floor, and then he's got that shelf in there in the back. And he had a bunch of stuff laying in there. Well, one of the things that he had laying in there was he had a mesh car cover that he could put over the top of it. And there's a scene where you see where he's parked on the mountain looking down on the oil refinery down there, and he's got the mesh cover over the top. It looks like an old World War II tank camouflage cover. It was made out of like kind of rope, and it had like pieces of leaves and stuff attached to it. I'm assuming that he would do that when he was camping out at night to try to hide the car, or if he had to leave the car for a little while so nobody would see it. So we're going to get some of that stuff and fold it up and put it in there. I'm going to get some fabric and kind of make a couple blankets and stuff like that, just to put a little bit of extra in there and fill it out a little bit. So that's the plan for that. We're not going to be doing that right now. I've got to go over to the store and get that. So let me get the camera on the tripod here, and we'll come back and we'll start working on the weathering on this side and get all that done. And then we'll do the windshield up here in the front, and then we're pretty much ready to put the car back on the chassis and everything, and we'll have a good look at how it's starting to look. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, so we're ready to get started here on the other side, on the actual driver's side. So like I mentioned, I'm going to start off a little bit of this white, and we're going to just focus on highlighting a little bit on these panel lines here a little bit, just to bring out a little detail on the, on the where the sun weathering would occur. We're just going to kind of do a little bit up here on the top and around these areas right here. My brush is a little bit wet, so I didn't really want to have that, so I'm just going to kind of rub it in with my fingers here a little bit. Get that blended in. This artist chalk is some really nice stuff. I really like working with it. You can see it all just blends in there really nice. We'll get this one off of here. And I don't want to do it the same as I did it on the other side. You know, it's just, I'm going to grab a dry brush here. I was using this for a little bit of wet brushing on the other side, and that was messing me up. There we go. That works a lot better. So we're just going to kind of highlight that a little bit, you know, on these body lines. And that's going to bring out the, I'm going to go ahead and get this whole thing back off of here. You know, the sun beating down on the paint job is what we're trying to achieve here. So we're going to put a little bit back here in this area right here. Just kind of smudge it in there a little bit, kind of break it up. A little bit here on top of these wheel arches. Let's do one more right up here in this area right here. Okay, and so that's all we're really trying to achieve there. Not a whole lot, you know, just the white underlay. Which, let me blow this brush off because I'm going to need this, this bigger one here for the brown powder. Okay, so we'll flip over. I'm just using a piece of 180 grit sandpaper here, and I'm just taking my chalk and scraping it on it until I get a little puddle of the stuff. Okay, so now we're going to overlay some of this this other stuff, and we're just kind of, you know, start off where we want to concentrate, where the car would, you know, you'd see it throwing up some mud, you know, of course, around the behind the front tires, and then behind the rear tires up onto the, you know, like a normal car does. We're going to kind of cake it on around the little marker lamp there because it would collect around that area, and then the front part of the front edge of the rear bumper, it would, you know, definitely cake up on that. Get down in here a little bit. A little bit up here on the top of the quarter panel. Just kind of blend it in. You can see we're getting a multi-layer now of coloring. You know, it's not looking all one color. Which, you know, helps. Hopefully it helps to add a little bit to the realism here. Okay, so let's kind of shave this in here a little bit. Now, the last step that we do here is I've got my paint, this sort of tan paint here. This is just some regular craft acrylic. I think it's called chocolate brown. And I'm just going to start dabbing this along the bottom of the rocker panels because we want it to be a little thicker and more caked on in those areas down there. And we're going to kind of, you know, splatter it up a little bit. Especially around the back here, around these, you know, the area where the wheels would be throwing it up. Put a little bit in here. Usually collects around the corners of the doors that you see. We'll put a little bit more in that area right there. Okay, maybe a little bit up in here. Okay, so I'm going to get some more of this because I need it to be just a little bit thicker. And we're going to do a little splattering effect that I talked about. Let me get this poured into my little cup here. All right. I'm going to have to kind of stand over on the other side of it here to do this. Do a little practice run here. That'll work. Okay, because I want it to kind of fling back this way. So you just basically take your brush and hold it up like this and just flick it. Getting a little bit on the windows, no problem there. We just mainly want to put it on the area where there's a lot of, you know, kicking up from the tires. Now, some of it got a little heavier than I wanted, so that's no big deal. We'll just kind of dab on it a little bit. Make that go away. I want to do a little bit more, especially back here on the rear quarter panel. Okay, so that's really cool, and it gives you that, you know, that realistic look where this thing's been splattering through the water and the mud and everything. I think we'll do a little bit more right here by that front tire. That's pretty good. If you don't like how thick it is or whatever, you know, you can kind of just wipe at it a little bit. Let's get this rear quarter a little bit better too. Didn't get much going on there. All right, so that's basically blended in to where it looks like it does on the other side now. We'll kind of turn around and show it to you. So that's how we do that, all right? And that'll all dry really nice. Now, up here at the front, we're gonna do our little trick, like I said, on the, let me get my camera up just a little higher here for you. We're gonna just hit this windshield here with, this is the Duplicolor matte wheel finish, so it's sort of a, you know, it's not a totally flat, it's a kind of a satin. So I'm just gonna lightly dust over that windshield just like that, and before it dries I'm going to puff on some of this dirt here, focus a little bit in the corners and down here at the bottom where it would normally collect. Okay, and then when we pull our masking off, that's going to give a really nice, you know, windshield dirt effect. And you want to take, and after we pull the mask, we want to dust just a little bit more of that on the clear part there, because, you know, it wouldn't be perfectly clear, even in the center where the wipers have been, you know, working, unless he's recently ran them. So that's how everything's looking on the body, you guys. I mean, it's really simple. We've got everything set up here now, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start putting it all back together, and I'll come back in here in just a second and show you how it's looking once we have the chassis put back on, and we'll kind of go from there. We're going to work on the little dowel head a little bit, and we'll get the bucket done and get that put in there, and we'll kind of give you a look at how it all came out. So we'll come back with that in just a second here, guys. Alrighty, everybody, we're back with a little bit more here. You can see I've got the car all put back together. We're going to show you a little bit more of that in just a second. I'm real happy with how it came out. Everything worked out really good. So I've been working on just a couple more little details here. I've got my little bucket that's going to hang from the ceiling there. I used a little bit of the artist chalk to put the scorch marks on it. I've got a couple little brackets that you can see I made that are going to go on the dash. And then up here, I've got the little figurehead, the little voodoo guy or whatever you want to call it. This was originally flesh colored and it was upside down. Now you can see he's got a little headband on there, and I put a little bit of hair on it and painted him gray. I want to show you what it looks like here. This is the a picture of the actual movie car. I guess while they were on this, you know, working on it on the set, that you can see in the picture there the shiny outside. They haven't worked on the weathering on the outside yet, but right up here is our little voodoo head guy. You can see he's, you know, he's standing straight up, and the two little brackets that are right next to it there on the dash. So I'm going to work on getting that put in, and then we're going to pretty much call this a wrap, I think. I think everything came out really good. We'll get that all taken care of. We'll set it up with dog and everything. We'll put it on the old turntable, and we'll show you how everything turned out. So let me get this work done here really quick, and I'll come right back and show you the final on it. All right, everybody. Well, we're back for the finale on this one. I got all the little details added to the interior and got everything all buttoned up. Everything's all done on the outside. Looks like it came out pretty nice. I'm happy with the weathering and everything. A little bit, you know, of different techniques there. A little bit of airbrushing, a little bit of chalk, and a little bit of just, you know, splattering effects and all those kind of things. We'll spin this around on the turntable here for you in just a little bit and show you all sides of it. But I got everything done on the inside. I got the little figurehead put in place there, and I got the bracket put on. Turns out there was only enough room for one of the brackets, so I'll just have to settle for that. You can see here that I added a dirty looking mat there on the seat. I could see that in the movie when there's a shot where Max looks over at the dog, and it's got this, you know, kind of little mat that he sits on the seat there. Same thing on the floor. I'm going to be going over to Michael's or Hobby Lobby in the next couple days. I'm going to find some rope mesh type material that's hopefully in the right scale, and I'll fold that all up and lay that on the floor in the back. I noticed that's what he had in the back there. That's the camouflage cover that he throws over the car. You see it in one scene where they're up on the mountain and he's looking down on the oil refinery people down there in the Road Warrior with a pair of binoculars, and the car's in the background all covered up with the camouflage stuff. Makes sense that he would have that, so I'll try to find some of that and maybe some other material I can make a couple blankets out of and stuff. I'll go ahead and shine the flashlight in here, and you can see I got the bucket hanging up there, and all the work's done on the other side there on the ammo pouches and all that. We'll swing it around here to the other side and show you the driver's door detail, and hopefully you guys will see that. You got the ammo pouches there. He got his little machete. And then I put the little split in the seat, like you saw in the picture that I just showed you of the movie car interior. So that all worked out really good. This has just been a really fun little project. And finally I got my Mad Max Desert car along to go with the pristine version. Here's a little bit of detail on the fuel tanks. You got your Dinky D dog food there, and the spare tire, the jerry cans and all that. Got a little bit of muck splashed on the rear panel here. On the film, there's one shot they show that where it's like caked on there so thick you can't even see any detail. So I didn't go quite that far. I just muddied it up a little bit. And we got the tires all muddied up, and, you know, did the splatter effects and the different kinds of mediums. We used the artist chalk, a little bit of airbrushing, a little bit of painting, and, you know, splattering on the mud. So it all turned out really, really good. Got a little bit of fading going on here, you can see. So there's the windshield effect with the wipers. We'll have a look under the hood here real quick and show you that. Everything in there is all dirtied up real nice. We've got the front end piece removable here. Just kind of set that off to the side here. We'll swing it around. You can see the detail at the front. So now we can have the version of the car just like it was in the film after he has the wreck with the Landau. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm real happy with it. It turned out great. And I'll come back here probably in a couple of weeks when I get the decal set in for the tune version, and we'll put those on and we'll call that one a wrap, and we'll have our two Mad Max cars done. So I hope you enjoyed this, and if you're interested in more Mad Max stuff, you might want to check it out here. I might get around it in the next couple days. I'm going to create a new little channel. I'll put some of my Mad Max stuff over there, and then I'll be putting new content over there periodically. Won't be a whole lot, but as I collect these little diecast cars, I want to get the Holden Monero, the Knight Rider car. There's some smaller scale cars that you saw in the first movie, the little red van that they had, and some of the other Interceptors, the Big Bopper, and I forgot the other guy's name, but some of those are available in smaller scale, and then I'll be on the lookout for anything new that comes out. So I just really, really love Mad Max, as you guys can tell. So, all right, that's a wrap. I'll finish up here with a little, set the camera on the tripod, and we'll spin it around a couple times on the turntable so you can check it out a little bit better. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and happy modeling, everyone.